Hi, Aya.
Hi.
Welcome again.
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
Awesome to have you. I watched your YouTube video. Like somehow it just popped up on on the videos, like on my timeline. Not timeline. What do you call that? Like YouTube home.
Yeah.
It was a recommended video
Mamushi
about
video, right?
Mamusha
Probably.
video,
Yeah.
right?
It went
And
viral.
it went viral.
Yeah.
How many views?
Like 16. No. 160K views, I think.
Nice. That's
16
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice.
Over, yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Congratulations
Thank
on
you.
that. Uh, I liked how you kind of broke it down, and I was like, she's cool. Like, let's try to talk to her.
Thank
Let's
you.
bring her on the
Yeah.
podcast. Uh, why did you want to do that? Like, why did you want to do like kind of these kind of
Like
videos?
content creator, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I still work for Gaishi, so non-Japanese company, three of them. Yeah, I left there like March, and I try to, well, yeah, I wanted to do something, right?
Yeah.
And one of my dreams were always YouTuber for overseas target. And I always had the dream from like 3 or 4 years back,
Okay.
but I never had encouraged or I was insecure, right? So I didn't try. But after I left the corporate job, I'm like, oh, this is the time. And yeah, that's why I started. But the story behind is that I have my words to deliver to the world as a Japanese person who has an international experience, who is also bilingual. So, and a lot of YouTube channel is right now. It's everything is kind of shallow, cheap content like TikTok and just 2 second, just swipe. Yeah, I don't want to create that. More like I want to deliver meaningful like storytelling way of like Japanese content.
Right.
But in the beginning, the product out approach does not work out if I don't have enough subscribers.
Yeah.
So why don't I do the reaction videos, which is trendy and marketing approach, right? So that's
Yeah.
why I started the Mamushi video. Yeah.
Mamushi video. First of all, like the video is great.
Thank you.
Obviously, Megan is also great.
Yeah.
So it was a good choice to choose that,
Uh-huh.
right? How come? Like, what was the thought process behind? Like, this is obviously a viral video, and I will explain it. It's not. I'm not gonna react to it. No, I'm gonna explain the culture behind these references.
Yeah, so I made two videos for Mamushi video actually. The first one was lyrics because the Yuki had a fully
Yes.
Japanese verse,
Yeah.
and I was sure that a lot of people don't understand it, and it
Yeah.
was cool, so I needed to translate and deliver. And then after I think 3 weeks of the music came out, they released a music video and
Yeah.
I watched it and that was like super authentic even from a Japanese person's view. So and it has a lot of meaning like yakuza type of films or very
Yeah.
like onsen and they're everything was real and they were all Japanese actors except for Megan and but they don't like probably overseas viewers don't understand the difference between the authentic one and American like westernized one. So man, like I have to explain. Yeah, I know everything. Like come on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're Japanese, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I need to ask you this. There are many people, like obviously Japan is a great country, right? Like obviously, and this is why like many people love Japan, right? However, some people push it, like they just like it too much, that they don't even live here, and they start to have these opinions, and Japan is like this, and Japan is not like this, and you should do this, and you should not do this. How do you feel as a Japanese person? You obviously thank you for these guys for loving Japan, but what do you
Yeah.
think?
So good and well, positive and negative view.
Yeah.
Obviously, like I used to think, oh, this is no cool. Like, oh, people are misunderstanding Japan. Oh, they don't even know the difference between China and Japan. But and especially American, I think they some of them are very interested in our culture, and they brings up like my country or name or anime. Right? That's a good thing that people kind of recognize my country or my culture because of that, right? Even though they don't have enough knowledge that it's not authentic.
Yeah.
So it's good. But I don't like the. Have you heard of yellow fever? No? It's like fetish towards Asian
I
women.
know,
Yeah,
I know,
right?
I
And then
know. So
I've
I
seen
wanted
it.
to make sure that this is the exact
Yeah,
same
yeah,
thing
yeah.
that we were thinking. Yeah.
So I've seen a lot in the States, also here too. And I don't like the misconception towards like the culture, especially the sexual part. And yeah, that's what I don't like. But yeah, in general, I think it's good thing that people talk about my culture. Sushi, yeah, it's even though it's the on the like shallow, like surface, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's okay. Yeah,
It's just fine.
not better than like zero, like you know.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can correct them. So yeah.
And recently, like, I don't want to go into a very controversial part, but like Japan has been getting a lot of foreigners recently,
Yeah.
right? After, especially with the dollar going down, going up, down, yen going down, dollar going up, many people just came to visit. And then you got these people who are like vigilantes. Have you seen the so there was like I think it was in Nara, a Chinese tourist did not really kick a deer, but he was kind of touching it with his foot, right?
I see.
Right? And then there's this Japanese guy that just came in and started cursing the hell out of him. And kaire, kuri ni kaire, kaire to ka. Like that's also a bit weird, isn't it? Like the other side of
Like
the
the Japanese
story.
people say, "Oh, like gaijin deteke" or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
みたいな。
Well, because they don't respect our culture. Some
Right?
of them,
Yeah.
like they don't. They make a mess. They're too loud, and they, yeah. They don't like なんて言うんだっけRome I forgot the word like
What?
Rome なんだっけ Go
日本語って何ですか？
郷に
郷にいて郷に従う。
yeah, I forgot
When
the
in
word.
Rome, do like the
Yes,
Romans
yeah.
do. Yeah.
They don't do that, so they just they're like, oh, we're a foreigner, we're based in Japan, so yeah,
Yeah, this is weird, right? Like this is like it's once you're in another country, you gotta respect the rules in it, right?
yeah,
You gotta read the room, gotta
Yeah.
なんか空気を読むでしょ
yeah,
なんかとか。But it's very strange when you see these people trying to enforce their own rules in another country. Like do whatever they
yeah,
want to do. On the other hand, also there are some reactions that are a little bit severe, right? Like
Yeah.
also from the Japanese
yeah.
side. So it's kind of like if people could just chill, a little bit, it would be really cool. But like unfortunately, that's not how humans behave, right? Yeah. So you've been outside of Japan too, right? Like you've traveled a little bit.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
A little bit or a lot? I don't know.
Yeah, so I can talk about my
Yeah.
background. So
Yeah.
I was born and raised in Hokkaido, Japan. So I'm from the north, and I was there until high school. Then I decided to go abroad. I mean, study in university outside of Japan, but I didn't have enough English proficiency, so I went to language school first for a year and a half in Vancouver, Canada. Then I moved to New York State in the United States for college. Yeah, so that's my story. Then I came back to Japan.
What did you study? Like you
business,
skipped over.
I know, yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
I studied business administration. So I got a BBA, Bachelor of Business Administration, minored in Latin American studies because there are a lot of Latin Americans in New York, so they were very interesting. So yeah, I got that. Then Yeah, my concentration was entrepreneurship and a business major. So
Yeah.
I was always interested in like having my own business. But that's why when I came back to Japan for work, I was looking for a job opportunity in a startup up environment, and I got it. And for my first career, that was a Japanese startup. Yeah, so then that was 2020. Yeah. So I started living in Tokyo from January 2020.
So you came back from the state to Tokyo. You didn't go back to Hokkaido.
No, I went back to Hokkaido, then did a job hunting for 6 months. Then I got the job offer, then moved to Tokyo
Oh.
January 2020. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. It's
Yeah,
very
then I
interesting, yeah.
experienced Singaporean companies, Japanese market entered, and I moved to British company like the overseas sales, and I was in Dubai actually
Oh.
this earlier this year. Yeah. Then
Nice.
I became independent. Yeah. Now.
And
Yeah.
now you just left.
I
You,
yeah
you
I
want to
left.
do your own thing.
Yeah, I left 9 to 5. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are you doing right now?
So beside the content creation on YouTube, I am in the phase of founding a like corporation in Japan, and like several things. It's like my first service is helping a Japanese market entry for foreign companies. I already have two or three companies in my hand.
Nice.
And meanwhile, I want to do create another media. Like beside my personal channel, I'm gonna create a business focused media that's introducing Japan's business or interesting people like artists to oversee, because I realized that there is no such a platform right now to connect, like people like overseas and like Japan. But there is one B2C one, like Go Go Nihon or Japan Guy,
Yeah,
which
yeah, yeah.
introduce like housing or language school or travel destination. But
Yeah.
I don't do that kind of stuff. Like I wanna introduce our interesting like business owner or business content like product artists. So that's what I'm creating, the B2B media for overseas.
I
Yeah.
see. Damn, you're doing a lot.
Well, yeah, but it's yeah, like I'm starting it, so yeah, it's in the beginning hard. Like
yeah,
in beginning phase, it's the hardest. Yeah,
It's always going to be difficult,
Yeah.
right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And content creation, let's go back to content creation a
Yeah.
little bit, right? It requires different skills in order to make that work,
Mm-hmm.
right? So video editing, shooting,
Research,
research,
yeah.
basically search engine optimization,
Marketing,
marketing.
yeah.
How did you learn all of that?
Well, I just did. Like I have many influencer friends, so I asked them around too. Also, I did a lot of research in English, especially, and I did browse a lot of Japanese influencer that's targeting overseas. And they have the similar way in the beginning, like reaction or those. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. But basically, I did everything. So in the beginning phase, I knew that the quantity over quality is important because you never know which one
Is going
pops
to
up,
get
right?
hit,
Yes.
yeah.
So I focus on that. Yeah. And I think I finally on the なんて言うんだろう、軌道に乗る? I forgot how to say. Like on the ground, like
you rode the wave.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, something,
Something
yeah.
like that?
Yeah. So now I kind of know what my viewers are expecting me to do, like to create or what they like or what I can offer, what I can create. So I think I finally I'm on that phase. Yeah.
Okay. And what do you think? What's the thing that people look for when they look for content, like for about Japan, for example?
Yeah.
What do they like to know?
It depends, but for example, my niche, my target, my audience, they are mainly foreigners who are learning Japanese who regardless like living abroad or Japan or interested in like moving to Japan. And actually that was my target, so I got a right target.
Nice. Yeah.
And I think they want me to expect to create kind of language or cultural related content, but like explain it really like well, not like just, oh, that's cool, or goddamn, like it's
Yeah.
not that. I explain it as a Japanese native, Japanese like bilingual, like what's the meaning behind a story, yeah, why do we do it, etc. Yeah.
This is really cool. I don't know, like acting like a bridge between your culture and other culture is always very interesting because there are so many miscommunications that can happen. I see it all the time.
Yeah.
Even sometimes at work, like people when they think they know what's going on is very different from actually knowing what's going on,
Yeah,
right?
I know.
How do you make sure that that you're actually portraying the exact image that you want out of these, through these
Yeah.
videos?
I'm not sure if I can answer fully, but on a daily basis, so my friends in Tokyo are like 50% foreigners and 50% Japanese. So I make sure I hang out, I engage with all of them, like both Japanese and foreigners. So especially foreigners, I listen to them a lot, what their struggles or pain living in Japan, and I try to understand them. So I think that's one of the great inspirations for content creation. Yeah.
So, for example, like foreigners, your friends who have been struggling in Japan, what is the thing that they struggle with the most, other than the language?
Well, yeah, I think the language is the hardest part for almost everyone because it's really hard. Like it's, I think one of the hardest language, like our
Yeah.
Arabic, Japanese, Korean, like stuff, right? Like that, right?
Yeah, I mean, Arabic, Chinese, and Japanese are the three most
Yeah,
difficult languages,
I
like
heard.
so far.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
well, language, well, like barrier between, like gap between Japanese and foreigners. That's what I heard here all the time. That, for example, like making a plan with Japanese people is really hard because they book everything in advance, like 3-4 weeks advance.
Yes.
But foreigners say, "Hey, are you free tomorrow?" Right? So
Yeah.
and then they Japanese people are never free up until like 4 weeks later. So that's one of the gaps. So right now, what I do is like I'm a bridge, right? So I don't make too like ahead plan. Maybe like one or two, like in 2-3 weeks. But like other than that, I make it myself available for any opportunities that I don't know. Yeah, right.
Exactly,
So
right, yeah.
that's my approach. But yeah, making a plan with Japanese people also, yeah, like reading the air, like it's called kukyoyomu.
Kukyoyomu.
Like Japanese people often don't show their emotions. They're not expressive. So foreigners often get confused. Oh, what they're really thinking of. They say like yes or no answer, but I don't know what they're really want.
Daijoubu.
Yeah, daijoubu, yeah.
Like, unless you know how to read the air, you
Yeah.
won't understand what daijoubu really
Yeah,
means.
so
right?
read between the lines. I think
Yeah.
it's really hard for people from different background. Yeah. So
Right.
I think that's the thing. Yeah. Read maybe the language and the read between the lines.
The
I
lines,
think that's
right.
the hardest. Yeah, I heard.
Which is also part of the language, like reading between the lines, and like you won't get there unless you understand also the language, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing, like for example, me though, I, it's like, I find it very difficult to make friends in Japan.
Yeah, it is hard.
Is that true?
Yeah,
Like-
I mean, foreigners also tell me that they only stick with foreigners because it's easier, same language, and they don't have to worry about reading between air or, making plans like very like fixed date.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's yeah, it's hard. But what's your struggle? Like
I
how?
don't know. Like I know people.
Mm,
And this is the thing. Like I have a lot of Japanese acquaintances. Acquaintances like people I know,
yeah.
right? But I wouldn't like we're not really friends. You know.
Mm,
I like
I
it's.
know.
I don't know. I just did not expect it to be like this.
I
It's
see.
like you said. It's like there's a wall.
Yeah, because
I just don't know how to.
we are such a high contextual culture that the door, the entrance door is super thick. So as soon as you break that, and is super close to the person, but that phase is the hardest.
I'm like, and I think yeah, like you said, like it's probably the door is thick, and I never invested time to try to really approach people and try to really get close to them.
Mm.
So probably that's also like one thing. But yeah, it's not.
And they're never like free, right? Like when you say for example, hey, are you free this weekend, and they're probably fully
Yeah, they
booked.
already have
Yeah,
stuff to do. Like people, like you said, like have plans like a month or a
yeah,
couple of months ahead.
yeah,
Like it's not. It's rarely you're gonna find a person that is just free,
yeah.
right? Like doing
And
nothing.
the Japanese people tend to not be as spontaneous as other cultures. So
Yeah.
I am, but because I lived abroad like enough.
Mm.
But people here want everything planned and fixed in a bit advance. That's
Yeah.
why culture difference makes it kind of hard to engage with locals. Yeah.
I was listening to I don't know, like it was YouTube or lecture or something like that, and they tell that they said basically is that mentality between, like, for example, Japan and the West, is that Japanese way of thinking is very careful,
Yeah.
very, contemplative. Like they
Mm,
like to think things through.
yeah.
While in the West, it's a lot more spontaneous, like you said, right? This is the nature of people, and it reflects largely on business.
Yes.
So you see, like businesses in Japan move slow,
Yeah, super slow. Yeah.
right? While in the West, like shit gets done
Yeah.
fast. Don't you think like sometimes it's better to move fast?
Well,
Like,
that's why I don't work for Japanese companies, and then
uh,
my business partner are foreign companies because
uh-huh,
of that. Yeah.
uh-huh.
I yeah, it just doesn't much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like especially for this age that we're in right now, like time is of the essence,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So I just like I know that this is the culture and this is people like they do things certain way, but sometimes like pick it up,
Yeah, I
you know.
know. We need to kind of break the protocol that we have right now. Yeah, kind of, なんだっけ, seniority. Also, the
Ah, yeah,
decision
yeah,
making,
yeah.
like slow decision making, and they don't want to take responsibility of what they say. So they say yes or no answered, and
Yeah, there are no yes no answers, right?
yeah,
Tomoimasu. Like
と思います。
everything is
Yeah.
tomoimasu. It's fun.
Yeah,
It's
so but some people fit the culture, so I think it's okay. But for me, I don't fit that, so I don't choose it. And I'm bilingual, so I can choose whatever I want to.
see, I've been in Japan for 12 years, right? And even though I will never be seen as Japanese or as part of this community, but I've been living here for a long time and I think I understand a thing or two. The world is moving very fast nowadays.
Yeah.
And unless Japan also proceeds with this kind of movement, then it's going to be left a little
No, it's
behind,
already
right? Like
is.
I mean, slowly it's like you think you're not doing bad, right? But people are really fast and
Yeah.
they pass you really
And
fast,
Japan
right?
is just
So
like thinking like this, but they don't realize how.
it's I don't know if they don't realize or they don't think or like they don't care or like I don't know. Like for example, like AI technologies, for example, and applications and AI technologies. I know many friends of mine that work for the industry for big tech companies. The applications compared to other countries are still very, very limited. The the research and development, that the investment in this sector is very limited compared to other countries, which is like, come on, guys, like we need to hurry up, right? I just hope that. So this is like the image of Japan is like it's advanced, right?
We have
it's always
both.
like,
Yeah, I
you know.
know.
Then how come you're not picking it up? You know.
Yeah, I know. That's an interesting part of my culture. We have advanced technology,
Yeah.
like car and other like tech, tech. But
Tech, right?
we also, a lot of times it's paper based, and
Yeah.
we still use stamp and fax as well.
Yeah.
So we have both. That's
It's very
it's-
unique to Japan, right?
Yeah.
It's a balance that I think
We have
nowhere else.
tradition.
Yeah, nowhere else.
Yeah,
is
almost
gonna be like this, right?
We have like very long history, tradition, like temple and culture, but also the technology, but also very slow moving, paper based
it's
culture.
unique.
Yeah,
It's honestly it's a mix that
Yeah.
makes Japan what it is. Honestly, like it or hate it, this is what it is,
yeah.
right?
And then I used to hate it. I used to thought like, oh, we should change or immediately. Oh, we need to do everything at the band. But now I have different perspective that maybe it's okay to keep it this way because this keeps our culture kind of independent and special in a way, especially language and the paper thing as well. Like no one can enter so
Get rid of the hanko.
yeah, I hate
Get
it.
rid of the hanko.
Yeah, I hate it.
please. Like
Yeah.
that part is frustrating for
Yeah.
me. I'm like,
Yeah, I know.
anyone
Yeah.
can forge a hanko.
Yeah, but you can still kind of choose your environment. So like I do. Also, it's just a culture, so I don't keep it too personal. I used to do, but now, just how it is. So okay, I'm gonna do it. Yeah.
Yeah, right. I don't know. There are so many particularities, so many peculiarities, so many things about Japan, about living in Japan, and it's very interesting talking to a Japanese person about it because the way that a foreigner sees it and the way that a Japanese person sees it are not exactly
Yeah.
the same, right? Like even though it's might look the same, it's not usually the case. What's a thing that you think divides foreigners and Japanese? Like something that okay, Japanese people like it, foreigners don't like it.
Like beside the
Beside the hanko.
well.
Yeah.
And the booking and advance too. Like earlier we
Oh,
talked about
right.
it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Is it something like that, or you expecting?
Yeah, maybe so,
something-
yeah, okay, that's one thing.
Yeah, yeah,
Can you
yeah.
think of something else?
Well, language, the culture, well, booking. I think. Well, I think this might be applied to any culture, but we. Well, obviously, we use Japanese as a Japanese person, and everything is Japanese. It's comfortable to use Japanese
Yeah.
with friend, and it's also comfortable to use less word with familiar language in Japanese. For example, in English, when I'm late, I say I will be late, but in Japanese, I literally just say late. 遅れる. That means I will be late. So
Uh-huh.
it's easier, right?
uh-huh.
And then people want the one like person who understand the high context language as a friend. So that's another thing that divide foreigners and Japanese. You know what I'm saying?
But can you explain
Like
that again?
no, like in foreigners between foreigners or foreigner to Japanese, we need to have like a low context language in English, but between Japanese, we don't have to say much, but we understand everything because we share the same background.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
And it's easier, and it's like it's
It makes sense,
yeah.
right?
So, but I'm okay with both. But I think a lot of Japanese people who is still learning English, for them it's much harder to interact with foreigners because they need to think every time in English or Japanese. Other way, well, make sure everything is understandable for them, the people from different background.
I
Yeah.
see. Okay, so you studied abroad. You came back to work in Japan.
Yeah.
Are there things that you preferred when you were like in Canada or in the US?
Yeah, I have both. Both.
Yeah.
Every country has.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. So what I liked about the United States, or New York States, is the freedom that I basically found myself to be how like who I am and how to behave as a 100% like fully myself. So yeah, that's a good part that nobody judge you and people are just do whatever they want. They don't care about how they are like how others judge. So that's a good part. But I think it sometimes over like it goes too much that people are just too much chaos and yeah like a safety problem as well. They just yeah, for example, homeless there are very aggressive that they attack people or yeah they have they have nothing to lose, so they are very
Have nothing to
brave,
lose.
right? Yeah. So but here has peer pressure, a lot of peer pressure, and they don't have it in the States. So, living
But
here, I
this-
have to kind of.
yeah, I mean it's different. It's a different level of peer pressure,
Yeah,
right?
and
Yeah.
especially I'm a Japanese person, like female. That's another level than you.
I wanted to ask you to tell you about
Yeah,
it.
yeah. So peer pressure, like, oh, I have to dress in certain way, behave in certain way, like, oh, I have to have pale skin and all the expectation of behavior, also beauty standards. So that's, yeah, New York had a more, well, the diverse, like, way of the, beauty standard and living too. Yeah.
Maybe the food. I don't know. When you were there, like, what did you miss the most about Japan?
Yeah, food. And I think safety. Well, New York was not as dangerous as expected, so it's okay. But I think food and the cost of living here, because of the labor cost, is much lower than United States.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, living cost.
New York is insane, right?
Well, yeah. So,
How much did you pay for rent, if I can ask?
well, rent, it's not that much, like $900.
Really?
Yeah. Then that time, Japanese yen was not as weak as now, so it was
Yeah.
okay. I also worked, so it's
But
okay.
900, that's so cheap, though.
Well, shared. Obviously.
shared. Oh,
You
okay,
cannot like almost. You cannot
You
almost.
cannot get an
ever-
apartment yourself.
I don't
right?
think so.
Yeah,
Like even
right?
my friend, he earned, I think 80K as a student. He still shared with his brothers. Yeah.
I mean, it's still so expensive.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
apartment, I hear rent there is just insane. Like you have to share one way or the
Yeah.
other, right?
So yeah, living cost is kind of expensive, but at the more than like what I didn't like about there is the tips and
Tip?
tax. So and like for example, salad, like just an okay salad, they charge maybe $20 plus tip and tax. So in reality, you kind of times like 1.3 times than what you actually see in the menu. So, but Japan, we don't have tip and everything is kind of reasonable and then the quality is really good. So that's what I missed about Japan. Yeah. When I was there.
I mean, the system in the States is a bit like the tipping culture
Yeah.
is very
It's
sad.
not the best, yeah.
It's sad because some people, that's their only way of living.
Yeah.
Like they would basically make their living using the tips they
Yeah.
get, right? But then the customer is basically getting charged
Yeah.
for something that the business owner should be paying, right?
Yeah.
It's very unfortunate, I guess.
Yeah.
Talking about content creation, and you said like you don't like to make these short form content.
No, I do.
You
but
do?
I was talking about the kind of. I don't like TikTok personally.
Yeah.
It's just about
The style
how to
you
say
mean, like
it's tired, addictive, and how do I say? I always say like cheap content. Like I know they calculate and everything, but like how to say, it doesn't have much meaning. Yeah, I'm some well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I
I mean, if
prefer.
you keep scrolling it, like
Yeah,
probably none of the content is gonna stick in your head,
yeah.
right? Like it's
So
just like
I want to have a more meaningful content that people can think, like people wonder what's like. So that kind of content. That's yeah, my type.
the one
Yeah,
that you're
yeah.
kind of doing. I see. If somebody is interested in learning more about Japan, about Japanese culture, what reference would you point them to? What? I mean, because Japan is not just anime and manga, right? But it's a doorway, right?
Yeah.
People start to like Japan, learn more about the language using anime and manga, right? But then that's not everything, and that's not necessarily how Japan is. Like we don't have ninja anymore, right? At least that we don't know of, right? So, on your point of view, like what would be the way to actually let people know more about actual Japan,
Yeah, I have my like answer.
other than your YouTube channel?
Yeah, my YouTube channel and also doing business or work in the Japanese company. So, like business and relationship. That's the two ways of learning Japanese culture in Japan. And I think traveling in Japan is the least way, like the most shallow way to learn the culture because you are in the honeymoon phase and if you don't know the language and you just enjoy and that's not the core part of Japanese culture. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, but doing
Yeah,
business.
just traveling like like you said, it's honeymoon. Like,
Yeah.
it's just you're just being exposed to the best things in this
Yeah,
culture and
so
this thing.
that's the if you travel Japan, that doesn't mean you actually learn the culture, but yeah, two-way business and relationship. The one, the business. So if you do business, a business hub. If you have a business partner, the Japanese business partner, you know what's gonna happen. Like it's very slow. They're like, yeah, I. That's another, yeah. That one of the best way to learn culture. I think that's the best way. Yeah, number one.
Being in a Japanese company, for example, working for a Japanese company,
Yeah. Also having yeah.
yeah, it's a bit. Yeah, not everyone can do it, to be honest.
Yeah. Some people are good at it, but
Yeah.
people from countries like Western countries where are respected as a individual, I think they don't prefer working in Japanese companies because they. I'm generalizing, I know, but well, in general, big Japanese companies, especially, they kind of want to standardize everything, like personality, like who you are. It's not about the individual; it's about the group. So in
Yes.
formality
Yes.
over substance. So if you can stand it, go for it. But yeah, it's not the best place to perform as you like individual. So
Right.
also doing business with Japanese companies. Yeah, that's my mission to be in the middle, right? But usually, if you don't have the kind of middleman kind of person, it's really there are too many conflict. They wanna have everything set, fixed, perfect, clear,
Yes.
in the 1 to 100, right? But foreign company when they say like, for example, they say something right, but Japanese people take it too seriously and they plan everything ahead, but they don't mean anything, and so they just forget about it, and they just ignore it. That kind of things happen. So yeah, you learn like the Japanese culture from business. Like I think the most. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would say if someone is really serious about integrating or like trying to know the intricacies of Japan and how Japanese people behave and talk to each other and work, they need to work for a company, a Japanese company,
Yeah.
a traditional Japanese company,
Yeah.
for like, let's say, like 6 months. Then you'll start to understand
Yeah.
how things go.
Yeah.
unless you do that, like you haven't been like
Yeah,
inside the culture,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
As a Japanese woman, you said like after coming back here, like it's really different, right?
yeah.
Do you still feel that business-wise, Japanese women are underrepresented, or no?
It's hard to answer the question, but I think within the Japanese society, we're still kind of underestimated, cause or underrated because women are still considered as, how do I say? Oh, some people think it's less than, yeah. I would say it's not equal, but like it's not like we're our presence is kind of always kind of small in Japanese society. So yeah, I still feel
It's
that.
very. I think recently was it Tokyo Medical University or which university like that they said that they rigged the exam so they would accept more male students than female students, and then the dean had to apologize publicly in a
Yeah,
press conference, right?
I saw, yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah.
So it was actually fascinating to me to know that Japan is kind of like that too, because I really thought that, as a society, like women get the same education. Apparently not, with these obstacles that are cannot be seen but are there. But why do you think why is that?
Because one of the reason is we give birth and male don't do the same and we
Yeah.
obviously have the maternity leave and
Yeah.
なんだっけ what's the word, yeah, the leave after giving birth, right?
Maternity leave, yeah.
So they think it's not, oh, it negatively affect company. So that's the thing. Like it's not about the, like, oh, gender. Like it's about we are here to giving birth and we live for certain years. That's why. Yeah. So I think the
Hey.
Japan itself is trying to encourage having more babies, but in a microeconomic, the company, they don't take a
Well,
risk.
yeah.
That's a problem. Yeah.
And the whole thing with, I don't know, we might digress a little bit, but the whole thing about the Japan is kind of motivating people to have more babies is doesn't make sense. People don't want to have babies because it's too expensive to raise babies,
Yeah.
right?
Also, so me, I became independent, and
Yeah.
what I'm facing is that for like company founder or freelancer, it's called 個人事業主. Japanese government don't support, don't give the like maternity leave, なんだっけ, well, money, well, yeah, support.
Support
But
you.
if you are employee of any company,
You
you're
get that.
covered, but we're not covered. But they say, hey, we want to have more female entrepreneurs. So what do you want to do?
How? How do I
Yeah,
do that?
okay. You want us to have a baby, yes, which I want, I really want. But as soon as I decide to being entrepreneur, they don't support having kids. What do you want to do?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's again like it's very interesting to
yeah.
say the least. Like
I think it's gonna happen. Like it's changing, and I'm sure they're working on it. So it's gonna happen, but it's late. They're very slow. So 5 or 10 years later, it's gonna happen. But no, probably no,
but
my time.
but
Yeah,
birth rate has been dropping like
yeah.
recently, like a lot,
Mm-hmm.
right? I don't know. Last year, how many babies were born? Like it's
And
like it's
I don't know.
very few. Like I
Yeah.
could not believe that's the whole number in all of Japan.
Mm.
So it's like
I think 600K or something.
really, I think lower.
Yeah, maybe lower.
Yeah,
Yeah.
much lower.
Yeah.
And this is why I was like, what? Like this can't
Yeah.
be true. Like in all of Japan in 1 year, like that doesn't make sense. But yeah, I don't know. Like hopefully, like you said, like it's gonna get
Yeah,
fixed.
I
But
think they're
the
they're working
faster
on it. Yeah,
the
but
better.
also society. So like not only the Japanese government, but the company or the society, they have to. I don't know how, but we have to have the kind of more supportive environment. For example, in train, um, when a young lady have a baby and the baby is crying, people kind of, especially older people, look at the baby and the mom like, hey, like, it's so annoying.
Urusai.
Yeah, so it's not good. Like the whole society, it's
That
not
doesn't make
supportive.
sense. It's a baby,
No, on
right?
government is trying, but people on the daily basis, they, yeah, I don't think they are as much as we used to be before. Yeah,
It's like you can't blame the companies because they're about making money, right? But also, like, women in Japan, I feel like many decide to kind of quit after getting married and getting
yeah,
babies.
yeah,
I think it's changing now, right? Like
yeah,
many more women like just do their maternity leave and then go back to
yeah,
working. But also, like, I think up until recently there were so many women that once they get married they just like, okay, mission done.
yeah,
Like now we'll just take care of the babies and
yeah.
so on, which is a little bit difficult to kind of empower women when they're doing that, right?
Well, I think it's. I would say the reason why we, well, not me yet, but they're returning back to work is because they cannot afford living.
Yeah.
They have to earn money. Like both parents can have to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like from company wise, company businesses, yeah, I mean you cannot see their point of view. It's not great, but like it is what it is basically, right?
Um.
Yeah. This is why like freelance work, like what you're doing right now, like doing your own work or
Yeah.
like doing a YouTube, whatever, it's something that is, it requires, obviously it's like a full-time job, honestly. It's not less than a full-time job,
Yeah.
especially if you're deciding to do it, but you can do it on your own time. It's actually a good way to kind of work instead of
Yeah.
working for a company,
Yeah.
right?
I think I would say having both is the ideal way, because having 95 a job stabilize your like financially,
Yeah.
but also content creation activate your creativity or like person as yourself. So I talent. Yeah. So I think having both is a good way. Yeah.
Absolutely. Anyways, thank you very much,
Thank you too. Thank you
for
for having me.
all the information that we talked today. Aya, like, your name has a meaning also in Arabic, right?
Yeah.
What does it mean?
I heard it's in Koran.
Aya
Yeah.
is, yeah, it can be, Aya is
Miracle.
like a miracle.
I heard, yeah.
So a miracle,
Someone
or
commented me about my name,
really?
so yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So
Definitely,
yeah,
yeah.
it can be both. Like part of a Quran, like a small verse is like an ayah, and ayah is also a miracle. So yeah, very cool name.
Yeah, it's a lot of like Turkish, Hebrew, Japanese, Arabic. It's a lot of, yeah. That's
Ayahs.
why I like my name. Yeah,
Like
yeah,
mine.
yeah, yeah.
What's the kanji for ayah?
My kanji is colorful, like irodori. Yeah, so that's
That
the
one.
color. Yeah, beautiful color. So
Yeah.
I love my name. Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, thank you very much.
Thank
Appreciate
you,
it.
thank you, thank
Yep.
you.
Okay. Peace.